until you lose a football club from your community, you don't realise the problems that it can cause. I mean, at the end of the day here, not just at Middlesbrough, but at all clubs across the country, a successful football club lifts the enthusiasm of the community. Those people that follow football intensely, or those people that follow football on the peripheral, they get a big kick out of their side doing well for the town. And I mean, you have to ask the Accrington Stanleys and the Southports, whose teams went out of existence, how difficult it can be.
It was difficult for Middlesbrough to beat Bradford City in the semi-final of the playoffs, but now the first leg of the final against Chelsea.
Middlesbrough need a good cross. Giversinho got a header to it. Trevor Senior, but definitely a mix-up in the Chelsea defence. Well waved on by Keith Hackett. Oh, that's a good ball out by Senior. Slaven's completely unmarked and he can go well forward into the penalty area. And can he pick somebody out? He got it the second time. Bernie Slaven gives Middlesbrough what could be an absolutely crucial second goal.
Slaven's 24th goal of the season put Borough in good heart for the second leg at Stamford Bridge. May the 28th, 1988 proved a momentous day in Middlesbrough history. Tony Mowbray led out a team just 90 minutes away from the First Division, less than 2 years after the club had virtually ceased to exist.
Dury with the throw for Chelsea. Nevin against the post. Ripley made himself a yard but didn't seem to appreciate it. And against the post, and then over the top from Slaven. So both goals escape courtesy of the woodwork in the opening minutes of the game. Ripley held on, and the chip was just over the keeper's fingers, off the post, and then over the top with the goal gaping from Slaven. McLaughlin. Glover. Monster's little pass through, Dixon's touch. And Wilson to Nevin. Nevin's chip. Dury! That has opened it up. Now we really have got a playoff on our hands. Nevin has always looked dangerous taking men on, pulls back the cross, first time from Dury, and Pear's stranded. 15 minutes to go. But it's a tightrope Middlesbrough walking. One slip is all it needs. Equally true, of course, of Chelsea. They only need to have a moment of casualness in their defence, and another goal for Middlesbrough would surely settle it. But it doesn't look too likely at the moment. It's Chelsea again through Nevin. Curled one. Pears saw it all the way. Bruce Rioch counting the seconds, moistening the lips. I doubt whether anything he experienced as a player was as tense as what he's been through this afternoon. A mistake now would be barely forgivable. Slaven. And there's the whistle. Middlesbrough have lost 1-0, but they win 2-1 on aggregate. They head for the First Division, and Chelsea go back to the second. The goal by Gordon Dury was not enough for Chelsea. The goals that Trevor Senior and Bernie Slaven scored at Ayresome Park on Wednesday night have done the trick, and Middlesbrough's marvellous rise from the brink of insolvency to the First Division in 2 seasons is complete.
Steve Pears, Dean Glover, Colin Cooper, Tony Mowbray, Gary Parkinson, Gary Pallister, Bernie Slavin, Gary Hamilton, Paul Kerr, Stuart Ripley, Alan Kernigan, Brian Laws, Mark Burke and Trevor Senior. These were the heroes who Borough fans saluted after their second successive promotion. Players who in turn acknowledged the contribution of the Teesside contingent in the 40,000 crowd on that summer Saturday in 1988. It was just 6 years since Middlesbrough had left the First Division, but there were times in the dark days of 1986 when their very survival looked unlikely. Giants like Tony Mowbray had made the dream come true. Come the following season, life returned to normal. Borough made a sound enough start in the First Division. They had a run of 6 wins in 9 games early in the season. But despite the regular supply of goals from Bernie Slavin, they had perhaps come too far too quickly. Expectancy was high among crowds of 20,000 at Ayresome Park. But an FA Cup defeat there by 4th Division Grimsby was a prelude to a disastrous run in the second half of the season. From the middle of January, Borough won only 1 of 17 First Division games. They had to beat Sheffield Wednesday at Hillsborough on the last day of the season in order to survive an immediate return to the Second Division. Weakened by the absence through injury of key players, Middlesbrough lost 1-0 and went down. They only just stayed in the Second Division in 1990. Rioch was still in charge for this FA Cup replay at Everton, but in March he was replaced by his assistant Colin Todd, who therefore led Borough out on their first ever visit to Wembley, where they lost to Chelsea in the Zenith Cup final. Again, the relegation battle went to the last day of the season, but this time Middlesbrough beat Newcastle 4-1 and stayed in Division 2. With Todd confirmed as manager and defiant gestures like the one coming up here from Gary Parkinson, Borough once again fell back on the club's undying spirit to lift them towards a place in the playoffs in 1991. The match of the day years have twice seen Middlesbrough rise from the 3rd Division to the 1st, and soon they will proudly rub shoulders with the top brass again.